the discussion something called DevOps fundamentals, right? So we try to see today, make an understanding of what actually the DevOps is, what is the role of CI/CD in the DevOps, what is CI/CD in the DevOps, and what does role of DevOps in the projects. So what is the significance of Agile along with the DevOps, and what are the new trends in the DevOps? So these are the basic understanding of fundamentals today. So before we start, so I would like to introduce myself. So guys, so this is so you can see uh, myself is Vikram Kumar. So I have been 14 years in the IT industry and currently working with DevOps and AWS technology. And my current designation is Principal Software Engineer. I'm working for a company called Emits, and it has been 5 years I spent time here, and I'm the registered member of NASCOM. So these are a lot of other, I mean to say, my profile. I spent a lot of time with different companies. So that's all about me, guys. Nothing to deep dive into me, but we'll focus more on the seminar. Okay, so first is what is, we'll see what is an understanding of the DevOps. Now tell me, guys, how many of you know what is DevOps actually? This may be a crazy question, but from your side, I want the answers. So, you know, in the college time also seminar is not like one person will talk. So all the seminars and webinars, it's like two-way communication will happen. So try to respond to the questions I ask. Be interactive. Right. So DevOps, if you talk, technically it's not a software. Nobody can say that it is a software, nor it's an application, nor it's kind of a package. Or what is this then? So this is a kind of an SDLC procedure, or a new process has come up in the industry. So which talks about making better. So already we have a lot of SDLC models in the industry, like we have something called Lean we started initially, then we came up with waterfall. Then we have something called Agile, right? A lot of models out there called after Agile, DevOps has come, a lot of models. Now the question is, currently the transformation is happening from the Agile to the DevOps. Earlier transformation was happened from waterfall to the Agile. Now from Lean to the waterfall. Now, do you know why the transformation is happening? Any guess? Any guess why we are trying to transform? Can't we run our software industry with the Agile? Can't we run with the software industry with the Agile? Tell me guys, frankly, can't we run? We have already proven this. Agile, using Agile also you can run your projects, correct? For example, guys, you may know, so a lot of bikes come in, right? New models come in. It doesn't mean that old bike doesn't work. Am I right? New bikes come in, new models come in, new features come in, correct? So it does not mean that old bike is not eligible. Am I right? Am I correct, guys? It does not mean that old bike is not eligible. Only thing is we got a better bike, like in the terms of features and lot of things. Likewise here also in the industry, Agile has been the most successful model in the industry. So there were some concerns here. There were some concerns. So as a solution to this, they came up a kind of an approach where they want to club the developmental team and operations team together as a single team and do the project and see how it works. They tried it actually. This experimentation happened in way back 2006 to 8 between, and the experimentations have been successful. So in the industry currently, maybe few of guys are maybe working in IT, but those who do not work. So generally when a product gets developed, your software product gets developed. So what happens is like you'll have your development team working and also the operations team working. Getting both see as a different. So ops team does not know what is going on with the developmental activities, nor dev does not know what is going on with the ops. So they sit apart. I mean to say, in the terms of everything, they see themselves as a different. Both are two separate teams. Sometimes in conflict, sometimes they don't sync up. So there are a lot of concerns are there. Now, somebody tried out why can't we make merge of this team and try to implement a kind of a new features called automation, cloud, because all these automation kind of stuff were evolving in the same period. So 2006 is the evolution of your public cloud. So in the same period, so there were some updates coming in the industry. Some updates are coming in the industry. I mean to say, if you talk like cloud was coming and a new thing called automation tools were coming and a concept called CI/CD is coming. So a lot of new concepts are coming where these features were missing in the agile because agile evolution was different. It evolved in the 1990s era. So when this evolved, these concepts were not there at that time. But when this was progressing by 2000 eras, so new concepts were emerging and these new concepts were integrated as a solution in the DevOps. So they clubbed it now. A new kind of a principle called Dev and Ops teams together. The concept is like we'll work together concept, single team concept. A new kind of a procedure has been evolved because Agile has its own procedures. DevOps has its own procedures, or we can say process. So each one have their own methodologies. So, so based on this methodologies, they were able to integrate. That means DevOps took these features and silently it has evolved. Initially, it was slow guys in the market, but once in 2002 and 13, the craze for the market has begun. 2012 and 13. Now, my next question is, don't you think this agile is inefficient in this? Do you think? One more tricky question. There are some guys, there are some gurus in IT industries who claim that DevOps itself has evolved above the Agile. And to them, those are the strong supporters of the Agile. They'll say that like Agile with automation is nothing but DevOps. There's also one more argument we have in the industry. Agile with a automation concept implementation, we call that as a DevOps. So most of, I mean to say, very good propaganda of this strategy is Microsoft company. So Microsoft is a company which believes strongly in the agile, and their way of understanding of DevOps is different. Okay, the understanding of DevOps concept by the IBM is different. That is the reason in the market we have a lot of DevOps variants, guys. Whatever you see the DevOps, okay, that is technically a standard one. But when you go with an implementation to the experienced organizations, for example, take it for granted, IBM, or let's say Microsoft, or let's say Cognizant, or TCS, right? They try to this modify the DevOps. Okay, they take their DevOps, whatever you have evolved in the industry, they apply their experience on it and came up with a new way of a word or new way of implementation. They have their own brand. For example, IBM DevOps. We have IBM DevOps, guys. Microsoft, we call it as Azure DevOps. We have AWS also. We call that as AWS DevOps. So overall, what you understood, guys, here? So DevOps in the industry itself is a new SDLC model. End of the story. It's a new SDLC model which has some positives over the Agile. That's it. That is the only point. So for example, if Agile can do some task in 1 hour, following in DevOps model, maybe you can do it exactly in 45 minutes. Let's say it is costing you 10 lakh a project. Maybe the same project can be done by 6 lakhs. In Agile, maybe you require 45 people to do that task or a project. Maybe in the DevOps, they require only 25 people. So this is a big difference, guys, when you're trying to compare from the data that is coming from the industry. We have surveys, correct? So NASCOM data will be there, what is going on in the industry. So according to them, there is a huge gap. The companies who have got migrated from Agile dependency to the DevOps dependency, they were able to cut down their cost by 40%. Now tell me, guys, cutting down the cost by 40%, tell me, can you cutting down the cost by 40%, is it equal to improving the profits? Financial, tricky word. So if you are able to cut down the cost by 40%, does it make sense that you're trying to improve your profits? Yes or a no? Yes, because every organization prefers to go for optimization, guys. What company requires, guys? We should not think like an employee, guys. Don't think like an techie. Don't think like a techie or an employee. Now just try to think as a financial business owner. For a business owner, what does it require? Any organization that is working, he wants only two things, guys. He wants to go into the market, correct? He wants to be, when he's operating, he wants to be optimized, right? Optimized. Optimized means doing the best, guys. Whatever it is possible, doing the best. Okay. So removing all errors. That means whatever the flaws they identify, they want to remove all the errors kind of stuff. They want to do it better. And third thing is cost cutting. And fourth metric is return on investment, ROI. So any organization which they're dependent on all these four factors, and fifth one, maybe you guys will accept customer satisfaction. Don't you agree? CSAT, we call it as CSAT, right? Customer satisfaction, CSAT. So your customer is happy, your business will grow, correct? So market want to go into the market, capture the market, make optimize, reduce the cost, return on investment. So everything is possible. By everything is possible in DevOps. Same thing is also possible in Agile. Now, what is the difference then? I'm not saying that Agile cannot do. I'm not saying that DevOps cannot do. Only saying is both can do. The point is, if it is, I told you now. So I'll give more realistic data. Let's see. So if it is a team size, in Agile it is believed that 45, and team size has come down 25. Any small project, I'm talking. Take it for granted, some X projects. In Agile, minimum head count should be around 45, and in the DevOps model, it is come down to 25, right? And the cost of operation, let's say it is 10 lakh, it has come down to almost 6 lakh. Got it? And Agile believes in mostly in manual process. Slowly, Agile also has improved its way of doing the business. So they also believe in automation. I'm not saying that they don't believe in automation. When initially Agile has taken the birth, it believed entirely in manual process. Then slowly it is moving towards automation. But the birth of DevOps itself is in automation, and it is moving towards optimization. You know what is the meaning of optimization? It itself took the birth in automation. It's moving towards, that means more like an AI. It's moving towards AI, guys. The future of DevOps is AI only. Slowly, we are in the infant stage. I mean to say, very young stage in the artificial intelligence. So DevOps is a stepping stone as on today. Got it? So a lot of things are there here. Now, if you talk about CI/CD in the DevOps, second thing, if you talk about the CI/CD. So what is a CI/CD, guys? You know what is CI/CD in DevOps? So no, continuous integration. The meaning of CI is continuous integration and continuous delivery. Delivery. Continuous integration, continuous delivery. So it has a lot of meaning, guys. This discussion will itself will take 2 hours. But the point in simple word, I will tell you, when your team is developing something, they are developing some product, right? So that product has to go in automation fashion for testing, okay, QA activities, then testing this product in the performance wise, then go into the developer environment, then go into again testing environment, then going into the staging, finally into the production. So everything should be automated. We do not require any human being here. So for some activities, you need to agree, guys. Don't think that completely we are overriding the human being there. So for some activities, human beings are required, but there are some activities which we can automate that things, and that should go automatically integrate the changes, live changes into the system and see if it is working. If the customer is not happy, we will revert the changes back to the older version. So everything is happening in fraction of minutes or seconds. You getting? So let's say once you push the code, it automatically deploys into the prod. Okay. So I mean to say live integration is happening. Now, once it is goes to the live and customers keep on accessing the data, I mean to say whatever application. Now tell me, guys, there was 1.0 version, I just integrated 1.1. Okay, now customers are accessing. You will have 4 hours, let's keep it for 4 hours. If you're not receiving any complaints in that 4 hours, what does it mean? You have to tell me the answer. You have developed some app, okay, think about like a WhatsApp, and WhatsApp you have deployed the newer version. You know WhatsApp used by hundreds, some hundreds of users, some crores. Now if nobody is calling up the WhatsApp organization and complaining, what does it mean? We keep an eye, right? Everything is fine. That's an end understanding. Everything is going good. Now that means 1.1 is good. That means I'll put this as a G. My team again after a week, 7 days after a week, again they deployed one more product called 1.2. Now this time I'll same observation. I got 10% of the calls out of 100 users. I have 10% of the calls I'm getting. What does it mean? That means they're not happy with the 1.2. Some issues. Always remember, guys, in industry, if you are touching 6 to 8% of the calls means you are risky shot. That is always 2 to 4% of the calls is expected. I repeat, it is expected. So any product will have always 2 to 4% of the flaws will be there, bugs will be there. That is common. But around 6 to 8 is always a risk. If it is touching 8 means it's flaw. Technically it's a fail. So I'm talking about 10% now. That means this is not good. Now do you want to run this 1.2 for hours, or you want to revert back to the 1.1? Now tell me. You getting what the point I'm talking? Immediately see, once I understand that my customers are not happy with the 1.2, then I have to initiate the proceedings to revert back to 1.1, and which should happen in the live integration. Live, everything should happen in the live. So all these kind of situations happen, can be managed better in the DevOps. Getting that is your continuous integration and continuous delivery. Continuous delivery is all about making your deliverables ready for your next deployment is called continuous delivery. So this is CI/CD, which is a kind of a new approach. Same thing is there in Agile, but the point is it is not continuous. Everything is manual. If let's say monitoring tool here, if it triggers that you are receiving a lot of call, so monitoring tool automatically raises to the production, I mean production team saying that we are trying to revert the tool. We'll have a lot of tools here. So tool starts automatically deploying 1.1 once you give approval. If you do not give approval, it still waits. If you're not giving the approval, if you're given the approval, then it will proceed. And you have a few tools where auto approvals will be there. In Azure DevOps, we have it. If it touches something, let's say 92, please revert back to the older version. Getting? So this is kind of an approach that we have in the DevOps. But in Agile, we do the same activity, but everything is manual process. So you know how the manual works. It is time consuming process. So next, if you talk about the third one, what is the role of DevOps in the projects, guys? If you talk about the third perspective, what is the role of the project? So when you get a project from a person, okay, you have only two choices, guys. This is frank. You have only two or three choices. So let's say you are a TCS. I am TCS, and some client came to me and he's talking about some project. Do you blindly take it, or will you do some kind of analysis here? Strategic analysis, we call this as. So let's say project is talking about this. Do you think everything can be done what he's talking? That kind of discussion will happen in the beginning only. So client may be talking a lot of things, but we know really that everything is not possible. So we'll give the list. Okay, you are talking about three. Okay, TCS may say I can only do. Okay, client may agree. So we start with the two. Now next question comes in picture is, now if the client is a techie, guys, this is what happens in the industry. If the client is techie in the sense he knows the technology, and he may ask you to do the project in so and so particular model only. He may say, please do this project in waterfall, or please use this project, follow the agile, or please do this project in DevOps. You getting? Let's say you do not have DevOps know-how. Maybe if your company does not have DevOps, then what happens? Do you think he will stick to you, or will he look for another vendor? He will go out. Project is gone. So this is what happens, guys. So generally, very techy clients will always look for new technology only, because when they approach the company itself, they will study the market. They'll see what kind of technologies we have, which one is good, which one is bad. They do a lot of R&D, guys. They take at least 15-20 days of time in this activity only. They'll do R&D and come with all the data. So they'll say, if you offer agile, okay, and if he has some budget concerns, he may accept, that's okay. But if he's looking for quicker delivery and lot of benefits, they may ask for DevOps. So this is one choice. One choice is client may ask you straight. You have a second choice is, you may offer the technologies that you know to the client. This is what happens. You will say that I can do the project in agile, I can also do in DevOps, I can also do in another model is there, guys, called safe. Okay, scaled agile framework. So you can offer a lot of, you can also offer waterfall, a lot of models that you know the way of operating the model or project. So client will take a decision and say yes, whatever choice that you give, and he may, because each model will have some rate. Let's say this is 1 rupee, this is 2, or this is 3, or this is 4, likewise, because each model will have pros and concerns, you know it, right? So each model have their pros and concerns, and budget cost, everything will there. So based on that, he will choose the right option. And you'll have third kind of situation where client will have no idea. No idea. He just want to get this done. That's it. So it's up to you now. So TCS generally they want to make the customer happy by offering the project at a lower cost. Generally, when the customer does not have anything, they'll try to offer at a lower cost and try to do with the, they'll not make very complex, they'll try to go with the very easiest models. So that's what happens. So cost effective and DevOps. So that is how things happen. So overall in the projects, guys, the role is, if you talk about the role, okay, for a big fishes, if you talk big fishes like IBM or this thing, it is only one of the choice they offer to the client. But you have some predominant companies like they're purely dependent on DevOps. For example, European companies. So European companies, once they believe that okay, Agile is good, they'll follow Agile blindly. They don't stick to any, they don't go to any other product. So let's say if they believe in DevOps, they always offer DevOps only. So what I'm talking is, so you'll have some companies where they're only very good in particular technology and they only offer doing the project in that style only. But if you talk about big fishes, now what they do is they offer a lot of choices to you, a lot of models. So if you think from that angle, it's all about the client metric only. Getting? So DevOps can do you better. Now if you go with a market study now, according to the NASCOM, if you go with a market study now, currently 30% of the projects in IT industry are operating in DevOps, and roughly 57% of the projects are on migration. You know the meaning of migration? They're ready for migration. And rest, they don't have clarity. Clarity means they are happy with the current model and they said no. So if you take this content, almost 87% will be DevOps for next 10 or 12 years. Now you need to understand, guys, DevOps is not only the model. So because new changes keeps on coming in the industry, so maybe next model maybe some XYZ. After that, next model maybe 1, 2, 3. Next model maybe let's say ABC. So any model that comes in the industry will have a life cycle of 12 years, roughly around. Successful models have been stayed in the industry for 12 years. So if you take a career of DevOps, it can give you 12 to 15 years max career. 12 to 15 years you can stick, and again you need to look for new technology. So that is a role here. Next, if you talk about the significance of Agile along with the DevOps, so this is very interesting question. Significance of Agile in DevOps. Now, please understand, guys, a lot of, I mean to say a lot of guys in the market or techies or don't have clarity on this, extremely this point. Please believe that in DevOps, automation is the focus. Automation is a focus area. And whatever the process that you follow in the development, like we have Scrum calls. How many of you know the Scrum calls, guys? Right? So that means people management I'm talking. I'm talking about people management, project management and people management. Confirm, guys, how many of you know the meaning of a Scrum calls? So developmental, I mean to say when in your team, okay, every day you will have a calls with your management on what you're going, I mean how it is happening. Scrum calls, we call that as a Scrum calls. Or it's like a tracker, guys, every day. Yes, it is also called a stand-up call. Yes, correct, stand-up call, but technically the word is Scrum call. Okay, in India we call daily stand-up, but technical word is a Scrum call. Yes, so what happens is DevOps did not focus on this. DevOps only focuses on automating. That means if I take this as a line, let's say you're doing your development, then you do your test, then you do your QA activities, then you test the product in different release environments. and finally make it available for the prod, right? Now DevOps is focusing on this area only. Please catch this point. So this is where the use case of DevOps is high, and in this area still people follow the agile methodology. If you go in any company and ask them, even the person who is working in DevOps role, you just ask him what is the role of agile, he will say tell you the same thing. Developmental activities, scrum calls is similar to that of an agile, because DevOps did not focus on this area. They don't want to disturb the reporting structure or the hierarchy structure that we have in managing the project. They only focused on, DevOps is only focusing on integrating the changes quick, okay, closing the gaps between the different teams, okay, test and QA and different teams have gaps. When you're working in a real-time environment, closing those gaps, automating the things. So that is what DevOps focuses on. So really in the environmental perspective of the development, DevOps does not involve much. Still we have agile going on very smoothly there. Getting, if I talk fairly, so reporting structure still intact with the agile policies, but post developmental activities, everything is seen in the form of DevOps now. Have you got clarity, guys? Only developmental activity is happening in agile methodology. Post agile, I mean to say post your development is completed, we entirely convert that into an automation by using the DevOps strategies. DevOps strategies. Getting? So that is what happens here. So in the DevOps, we have a lot of tools, guys. We'll see in another session, but tools. So these tools like we have like Git, GitHub, Jenkins, then we have something called Chef, then we have something called Puppet, then we have something called what is this, Ansible, Docker, Kubernetes, right? And we have Nagios, Saltstock. Different tools have their own strategy. Different tools will do something here. They're helping something in the project, guys. Each tool is capable of doing. So that capability itself is making your time to come down. Time spent on managing the project is coming down, and cost spent on the project is also coming down, and you're able to automate it. Getting? So that is what happens in the DevOps. Okay. Fine. So let's come back to the new trends in DevOps. We'll take all the questions. Look, I'll have all questions at the end. So if you talk about the new trends, guys, so what is a new trend from your perspective? Tell me, what is a new trends in DevOps? New trends in DevOps. Do you think it is a static subject? You know what is the meaning static? Like Java, Java is a static subject, or Python. So that means almost until unless new version comes in picture, the whatever material, I mean to say, let's say you are good in Python 3.0, you're happy. When Python 3.5 comes in picture, hardly you may see 10 or 15% fluctuation, and this may take 2 or 3 years of time, correct? 2 to 3 years of time. So you have ample time. So that means you become very highly stable here. That means this subject is called static. That means changes are not huge. The changes are not regular. If I talk in practically, the changes in the subject are not regular. Such things are called static in IT industry. Now, DevOps is not static, guys. It is highly dynamic. Dynamic. What does it mean? And please be aware, DevOps is still evolving. Evolving. Don't think that it has reached end. No, it is still evolving. So let's say what some changes, some subject you learned today. Okay. So make sure that you keep on touch with the subject, and tomorrow here it's like 2 or 3 years. It's not like here. It hardly you'll have changes in next 3 months. In a quarter, you'll have some changes. Again, get updated. Again, improve your subject. Again, in another quarter, you'll have these changes will not be huge, guys. What I'm trying to say, changes will be small only 5 to 10%, less than 5%, 10%. So in the next quarter, you may have new changes. Again, get it updated and move on. So that means that is the reason the people who are working in DevOps, they get highly paid guys, because any IT career which has a dynamic challenge, payment is high, pay scale will be high. Getting any IT career guys, which is very dynamic in nature, generally the pay scales will be high. Any career which is static in nature, pay scales is not equal to your dynamic careers. So that's what happens. So in this DevOps, don't think that it is a static. So that means you need to, even you have to evolve every day. You have to evolve every day. So every quarter, some changes will be there. So you need to update your knowledge, keep on moving. So this is how we have the new trends. Now currently I told you now, so most of the companies are working for next 8 years, roughly 8 to 10 years. You'll have exclusively for next 4 or 5 years, you'll have huge market for it. After 5 years, somewhat it becomes low because has it gets filled up. So it becomes mature. So next 5 to 8 years, it will be medium size. After 8 years, it will be low. So current trend is migration. If you talk trend, most of the agile projects are getting migrated into the DevOps. Now the next question comes in picture is, when it is under migration, how much time is going to take? All the migration projects at least will take 6 months to 1 year, guys. Don't be under impression that an agile project can be converted into the DevOps in 1 or 2 weeks or overnight. No, or in one sprint. No, all those things are not there here. A project which is operating in entirely in agile and you're trying to convert into DevOps model way of operations, it takes at least 6 months to 1 year of time. And whenever you have the migration projects, that means migration roles will be you have, there will be much openings for experienced people. Now once the migration is completed, the openings will be for freshers, because during the migration guys, they cannot experiment with the fresher people because they need only experienced people who can handle this. So once they convert this migration successfully, right, and the project becomes stable, the role of experienced people becomes low. That means no longer required until unless it is another migration. That means the role or significance of experience demand becomes low, and organizations start hiring for the freshers. So the job careers in this purely depends on the project, guys. When a company is calling you, okay, so if they're asking for experience, means you need to understand it is migration kind of a project. And if they are calling you and telling you that, do you know this, and come for interview, that means migration is completed and you are required in the maintenance role. So for this, any fresher person is sufficient. You getting what I'm talking? When the project is under migration, guys, always experienced people are preferred. Generally, once the migration is completed, once the project moves into a stable state, we no longer require the experienced people. So generally at that time, the hirings will be for the freshers. It's a combination, guys. In DevOps, you'll have something like combination of both experienced and freshers roles. And what is the other point? We're discussing new trends, and most of the organizations are ready to migrate. That is a good news for us. Most of the projects, around 50% of the market, are working on migration because they can cut down their cost, right? Now a lot of people have a doubt, what is the role of a cloud here? Don't you have? So DevOps guy, is it required for him to learn cloud or it is not required? Is a big question. How many of you have the same doubt, guys? You hear from the market that, okay, if DevOps means I need to learn again some cloud, correct? So this is how it depends, guys. It depends. So I'll tell you one situation. I'll give two situations you'll understand. So let's say there is a company called XYZ and they have a product. Okay. They sell their product in the form of only two methods, download and they send you the disk. That's it, no online. Okay. So if you're getting the job in this organization, in this kind of a product based company, then cloud knowledge is not required. Same DevOps only. They are selling their product by download. If you pay something, they'll allow you to download and take it and install it. That's fine. Over. Disk, they'll send you the disk. So for this kind of a business, the cloud knowledge is not required. But same situation XYZ, it's a product based company where they are offering the services on the cloud. That means online. You can access the applications like SaaS model, software as a service. They also allow for the download. They also allow for the disk, right? So all three options available. Under such conditions, any engineer or any DevOps person who is trying to get into this organization, they expect you to have the cloud knowledge because the product itself is operating in the cloud. So it's the organization, guys, whether they want to launch their product on the cloud, online services, or they want to go with purely on premises. This depends. If you join an organization which is entirely operating on premises, then they don't bother about your cloud knowledge. They don't bother. But if you're joining an organization which operates on cloud, right? Cloud kind of business they do, then they bother about the cloud knowledge in you. And most of the organizations in the market, out of 100%, almost 90% they operate on the cloud model. Currently, you have only 10%, less than 10, who are operating purely on premises. So that is different. So 10% market will get closed and merge up here. So most of the organizations currently are operating on cloud premises. They are ready to move and ready to launch more in the cloud premises. So then the question comes is here. Now, do you require cloud now? The answer is yes. Because in the most of the market, when they are, most of them are product based companies, they go with the services of providing SaaS, software as a service, and they launch their product on the cloud. So any candidate who joins their project, they expect the minimum knowledge of the cloud. I'm not saying that you should be an expert, minimum knowledge based on their role. If you're going as a technical as a cloud admin, then altogether that's a different story. Correct? When you're not going as a cloud admin and just going as an engineer, DevOps side engineer, that's different. So based on the role, when you go for a, I mean to say interview, just look into their JD and take decision whether it requires cloud. So having the cloud knowledge will always benefit you guys because that is what the current market trend is. You cannot say that I will live without cloud because current market is altogether has changed. So even your Java candidate, you check the Naukris guys, even your Java candidate or your Python candidate or your DB candidate or your DevOps candidate or your blockchain, whatever it is, somewhere they are clipping a clause of cloud. Do you agree? Whether you know AWS or you know Azure or G Cloud, that's all secondary. Somewhere they link up saying that, okay, at least one cloud knowledge you should have. Yes or no, guys? That is what current market is. The current market is like that. So if you talk specific to our domain called DevOps, right? Having a cloud knowledge is always advantage. I'm not saying it is mandatory. It is an advantage. If you have cloud knowledge, you'll get more 2 lakhs package extra. That is the only difference. because a candidate with DevOps knowledge along with the cloud, any cloud it could be, you'll fetch more 2 lakh package, guys. That is a big difference. So spending some bucks here for cloud and spending for, let's say, learning something in the cloud can help you with increase your package also, both in the terms of package and career also. So that is a current trend. So don't stick to simply saying, even if you learn Java or Python, guys, don't stick to simply saying Java. Just try to go with the cloud. So don't take my word as granted. Do some R&D on Naukri also. Just spend some time on Naukri and see and open and see some jobs, and you'll find somewhere link with the cloud. So in the current trend in the IT industry, cloud is essential for all IT engineers now. And how much knowledge it is required depends on your background. If you are from DBA, they expect you some X knowledge. If you are from Python, some other knowledge in the cloud itself. If you are from DevOps, some knowledge. If you are purely cloud engineer, altogether different story. So only there will be a fluctuation of knowledge here based on your career. Okay, so this is a new trends, guys. Okay, I covered this stuff. Now I'll take your questions. I post me the questions, guys. I'll answer to your questions. Post your questions one after the other. Okay, I'll pick up the one question from Feroz. Okay, to work on DevOps, do we need to have developmental experience as currently? Not required. The answer is not required. Alok Kumar is asking, can you please explain at high level role of automation in DevOps and about the automation tools? See, that explanation we'll have in the webinar too. We have another webinar that happens, I guess, on 10th or 12th. I don't know. You'll get the message, Alok. So in that webinar, we have only discussion on the tools. Okay, I recommend you to join that, Alok. Okay. So each tool will spend around 15-20 minutes of time and try to understand how things happen there. So the specific webinar has been designed. So Naresh IT guys will drop you a message on when is the date. At the same time, it would be date is different. Okay, next question. Will security not a trouble when we choose? Yeah, that's always a question, Shubha. Always security is a concern in the cloud. Still, it's all about the trust factor. Correct? So let's say you're trying to dump the data in the AWS. So why we are trying to dump the data in AWS? That's the first question. You also have, see, now I'll tell you one example. You have here, you have AWS guy here, and you have you have new vendor in the market. So let's say some brand called XYZ. So if you are choosing, then whom do you trust? Some new brand XYZ. Same question on security. Whom do you trust? Generally, we'll go with the AWS. Correct? So this is coming because of security is linked to a lot of things here. About the popularity will be there, and what kind of assurance AWS is giving on our data privacy. What is their policy? If data is breached, what is the action plan they have? And data if damaged, this is another use case. If the data is damaged, what action plan they have? And what is the action plan have they about protection of the data? So all these policies you have to read with the vendor and decide. So to your question, security is always a question only. Question in itself will never be satisfied. The only thing is you trust the vendor and see their policies and how they are protecting our data and move with it. That's it. Okay. Next course duration is 60 days, 2 months. 60 classes means it will take roughly 3 months, guys. Okay, the next Rajesh, I have 2 years experience in email marketing. DevOps as a fresher, can I start DevOps as a fresher? Yes, you can start. No worries. Nothing to be worried. Satyanarayana, 3 to 4 experience in, okay, 3 into apply to. See, popular technologies, this is a formula. Popular technologies, this is a formula. 1 year into 2 lakh package. Popular. Non-popular 1 lakh 1.5. This can go up to 3 lakh also, guys. You will not believe some companies also offer 3 lakh also, because based on demand. This is a scale. If you're planning for 3 years, means how much? 3 into 2, that's it. Go with this. 6 years, 6 lakh. Unpopular technologies, only thing is 1.5, 1 lakh, 0.5, 50,000. This is a range. So you have to calculate by that. The next, Kavya. So let's see the Kavya's question. Kavya, we have some kind of a coding, I accept, but you need to understand that coding is not equal to the programming. Programming, that whatever the code that you see in the Ansible is not equal to the programming. So programming is itself is a developmental role. Yet the coding that we write is hardly 20 or 30 lines, guys. Hardly 20 or 30 lines. That's it for your deployment. Among 20 or 30 lines, 50% is available in the Google only. 50% you'll get it from Google, and rest 20 or 30% you have to use our common sense and do it. So don't you think that can be done? We can do it. So programming is not equal to what you see coding in DevOps. It's different. So don't compare the DevOps coding equal to a programming. Okay, next question, Shubha. Cloud does not increase the dependency on Microsoft. It depends. See, what happens is, if I have a .NET project, if I'm a techie, then I'll go with a Microsoft, because Microsoft integration with the .NET in the cloud perspective is very good when you compare with AWS. But other than .NET, let's say Python, Java, or Ruby, or let's say C, C++, I would not recommend Azure. I would go with AWS. So this is how integrations will be there. Getting compatibilities, we call them compatibilities. So cloud, every vendor there in the market, the only point is your choice, what project you have and what you're trying to take it. Got it? Mahesh Reddy, what tools we have to learn in DevOps for getting a job as? Okay, man, you are my student, Mahesh. Mahesh Reddy, please confirm. Okay, then again, why you're asking same question? You joined my DevOps class? No, yes, or AWS? I see you in AWS. Okay, then again, silly question you're asking me. Okay, good. So what tools, Mahesh Reddy is asking, what tools to learn in DevOps? So just follow the syllabus. That's more than sufficient. But if I talk from as a well-wisher for you guys, so well-wisher for you, always keep a grip on this. Linux, Git, GitHub. Okay, point number 1. This is star. Star means you cannot miss. Point number 2, Jenkins. And point number 3, Ansible. And point number 4, Chef, Puppet, or any other XYZ brand. That's okay. Any of this one tool is sufficient. Don't try to become engineer in every tool. Only one is more than sufficient. And fifth one is Docker and Kubernetes. So you should be strong here. This is star rated, and Kubernetes will automatically come up. And this is what you have to be. This is a list. And if you're attaching your AWS cloud, you can choose any vendor based on your personal choice, guys. So if you believe in Microsoft, go with Azure. If you believe in AWS, go with AWS. If you believe in Google, go with GCP. Okay, I teach AWS and I recommend AWS. I also work in Azure, but I don't teach Azure. I don't teach, but I teach AWS. Okay, since I work with the both platforms, I prefer AWS. Okay, next. Guys, those who are from the .NET technologies background, I mean to say those who believe in Microsoft, go with Azure. .NET, your maybe you learn .NET course or what you have, right? So all those things. So then .NET related stuff. So such people, please go for Azure, and rest of the guys go for AWS. The next, okay, Srini, I guess you got your answer because same question you asked. Guys, when you join any, okay, Shubha is asking if he's a fresher, does not work yet in, okay. Always remember, guys, as a fresher, what is the difference between an, you know how companies take? So let's say you got a job in TCS, and if you are a fresher, okay, your budding time will be 3 months, guys. 3 months. They'll train you everything, whatever the work related, project related work, they'll train you. Correct? After 3 months, you will be pushed onto the project role. Don't you think you can handle? If you mess up this area, that is where this is gone. So when you hire as a fresher, always remember your project training will be 3 months. And in this 3 months, they'll every day they'll assign you some work related to the project along with the training so that you get grip. Like it's like going a driving a car, guys. When you go for learning the car driving, so few days will learn, and after some time will start independently, right? Same story. So for 2 to 3 months entirely they'll bud you. Somebody senior will help you with doing the task. They will train you. After 3 or 4 months, roughly 3 months, they expect you to operate independently. Now what is an experience difference? Now if you talk about an experience, it is hardly from 15 to 45 days. This is a time period. Experienced people expected to work from after 30th day. Generally, this is a trend, 30 to 45. This is a pay scale. I mean to say 30 to 45 days, you should be up in your project. Now, what is the difference between you and this guy? You know what is the difference? Time period. Second thing, very important thing is when new issue comes up, experienced guy will not get panic. Fresher guy will get panic. That is the only difference. Panic means he doesn't know how to do. Again, he feels that he's not trained. But experienced guy, using his experience skill set, he will try to manage that particular situation for time being, and he spends some time and re-engineer it and tries to solve the problem. So overall, when you keep on working in the DevOps, each day is an experience, guys. Don't forget, each day that you spend on a floor and each day spent on your task, time, everything is an experience. So when new issues come up, even a fresher and an experienced are on same page. The only thing is experienced guy does not get panic and fresher guy gets little bit of tense. That is the only difference. Got it? Okay. The next, Premananda Saho. Yes. Will you teach AWS? Yes, I teach AWS. Okay. I guess I answered all the questions. Anybody's question, if I miss, please kindly post it here. I feel that I answered, but if I'm missing any question, please post. We'll wait for 2 or 3 minutes. We'll then stop this session. Overall, DevOps is good career, guys. Only thing is you have to make choice. So if you currently in the industry, these are the only choices, guys. So don't get deviated from, because you need to make right decision. See, if you go in cloud, you'll be happy. You go in data science, you'll be happy. You'll go in DevOps, you'll be happy. You'll go in testing field also, you'll be happy. But when you compare with this, the packages will be low here. The only thing is trendy. Whatever the trendy tools that you have in the market, trendy things, try to catch them and learn it and move on. And always you should don't forget, anything that you learn, it will give you career hardly for 10 years. So it is not your lifetime, guys. Don't think that once I learn, let's say cloud, forever I'll be happy with cloud, because you know how the IT industry works. At some point, some technology will be good. Some other point, some other technology will be good. So any technology can give you only for 10, 12 years max, and you have to keep on switching. Got it? Okay. So it's all about making your livelihood for next 7 or 8 years or 10 years, and take a right decision in choosing the technology. And you should be also under impression that okay, this technology will give you me money for 10 years. Around after some time, I have to start looking for new thing. Got it? Only such thing can help you to learn the things. I'm from reporting background and working on Tableau. What do you suggest learning AWS or DevOps? Alok Kumar, I recommend you to go for AWS rather than DevOps. Got it? Tableau is a good career. Why your Tableau it has a huge demand in US market, you know? I guess you know it, right? Tableau has huge demand in US market. All financial companies or big fishes, these days they are using Tableau. There is a huge demand. Tableau will be there for next 10 years, guys. So nothing to be worried. Now, only thing is Tableau is currently getting demand, getting deployed on the cloud. Getting deployed, that means they also want to have the most of companies Tableau operations to be operate from the cloud also. Very so AWS will be a good choice for you. Okay, Tableau is nothing but a kind of an ETL tool or a data reporting tool, analytical tool. If you provide some set of a data, it publishes the reports, pulling the data, and kind of analytics can be done from it. AWS architect is not a good choice until unless you have 14 or 15 years of experience. You know the meaning of an architect, guys. I see a lot of people make wrong choice here. Wrong choice they make. They'll try to write the architect exam being a fresher. Does it make sense? You tell me, guys. Being a fresher, you will spend 35 or 30,000 bucks and spend some time and pass out, right? Now, do you think you are equal to an architect, real time architect? That's a big question. No, the answer is no, guys. Architect itself, the meaning is a person who has worked in the particular technology consistently for more than 10 years. He is called as an architect. Same person, if he is trying to technology number A, technology number B, technology number C, and he has 15 years experience, you cannot be called as an architect. Please be aware of this. An architect role itself is somewhat tricky. So architect meaning means at least in that particular technology, you should have consistent area of working for 10 years, then you are eligible as an architect role. If you talk about AWS architect, I don't recommend, because since if you are a fresher in this field AWS, spend at least 2 or 3 years time in AWS. Rather than writing the AWS architect paper, I recommend you to write somewhat entry levels like cloud engineer or associate engineer. That is more than sufficient. Once you gain enough knowledge of 2 or 3 years, then go for architect. Got it? Got it, Alok? So that is a right choice. So you have to spend some time in AWS for 2 or 3 years. For the 2 or 3 years, a very entry level certifications are there, like a cloud practitioner, associate engineer. Okay, so those kind of entry level certifications, if you write, then you become eligible for architect. One after the other. Each paper just takes some time of 6 months. Keep on upgrading yourself. At some point, 3 or 4 years later, try to write for architect. Initially on the day one itself, planning for architect is wrong choice, because cloud is somewhat complex. So until unless you have a lot of technical knowledge, will not be able to handle. Okay, any other questions, guys? Okay, and I see no other questions. And another session we'll have another session. I don't know the date, but Naresh IT will tell you the date. You'll get the message from the management about the date and session. So kindly attend, and you'll have more clarity and take decision, guys. Always take wise decision. It's not about you and me. Making your career is a point here. Okay. Thank you, guys, and thank you for attending the sessions, and see you back. Thank you. Bye bye.